Ray took the picture of it. Good morning. We'll call the meeting to order. It is 9:12 a.m. July 2nd. Al, you want to do roll call, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. District 1.
Here.
District 2.
Here.
District 3.
Yep.
And I'm here, Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman.
we will quorum. Which next up is review and approval of the agenda. Kathy, did you get a call from Monica about her water?
No, I got a call from someone over in the district needs a bed as the elder.
Oh, we got that taken care of yesterday.
Good.
Oh, okay, good enough.
Monica Pearl said her water went out or something going on with her water.
Who?
Water. Monica Pearl?
Mhm.
Yeah, so I'll check on that today.
So, Mr. Chair, there's just 3 things I wanted to, and I don't think they'll be long. I was hoping to get an update on that day labor.
Yeah, day labor?
Yeah.
I think Ben is gone and it's holiday tomorrow. Got a lot of people off.
What about,
I don't know if Doreen is there.
Doreen?
Let me,
yeah, you can check with Doreen or other
Let me see if
Esther
she's there.
Ames, get a hold of them, and we could just, they
Mhm.
can chime in. Anybody else?
Then I wanted to see if you guys would consider having a discussion on that layoff policy. And I'm not sure if it applies to the government side, but the casino side, where it says that if they're laid off more than 6 months, they'll lose their seniority. I don't think that's right. I think that because of the pandemic, those guys that we brought back, that should be suspended. And then the last one, Mr. Chair, and I know the comment period has ended for the independent investigation procedures. I'd like to try to make a decision on that today if possible.
Is Ronnie around, Liz? Veronica? All right. Kathy, Ray, anything?
I don't have anything.
That investigation procedure you're talking about, that's just for the elections, right?
That's it.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
it. Okay.
and then if we could add,
Mr. Chair, I just got one, I'd like to know how come some of them, MODs that have been there like for 29 years, 27 years, 25 years weren't called back. They're very concerned about that. They feel that we're gonna get rid of them, and I know we aren't. And those are the ones that are asking about, because if they're laid off over 6 months, then they lose their seniority, and
Yeah, we'll
they
talk about,
feel that we're setting them for that.
Ray, we'll talk about that in executive with, when we get into the personnel enrollment, so.
Did you get the letter to the president? Can I add that on there too?
Okay. Oh, yeah. All right. Motion to approve the agenda. Anything else?
can I, natural resources, there's a request out there, but I'd like it under executive session.
Okay. Executive. Okay. Motion by Umsey, second.
Aye.
Second by Allen, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We don't have no meeting minutes.
Just, yeah.
Do we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we do have meeting minutes, I'm sorry. For
23rd.
June 23rd. Hey, when is their holiday? Is it tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
And I think training starts on Monday, I think.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of calls. They want more, cleaners up at that casino.
I did talk to Scott on it and that they were gonna look into bringing more people back for that.
Yeah. They're, a lot of them are quite worried.
Yeah, there were 50,000 new cases in the United States yesterday.
Well, that's,
Yeah.
the states, the red states that ain't doing nothing. Kind of take the mask off, kind of, just like going crazy with all
Well,
that.
there's some states that have opened up some of the stuff too.
Well, you figure, you get that John Harrington report every day from Commissioner Harrington?
Yeah.
Yeah, our state's doing good.
Well, we had a 15% increase
Yeah, we did.
since last week.
That's where we were at on day labor, now that I read it.
Oh.
We're looking for a budget and a resolution from them.
Well, maybe it's in the signatory file.
So I didn't see one.
Looks like it. There it is. She found it.
Is it there? No, it's not there.
All right, anything with the meetings, guy, meeting minutes?
I'll move.
Motion by Allen, second.
Yep.
Second by Umsey, all in favor?
Alright.
Motion carries. Anything new to the calendar? I know we had a good conversation with the White House yesterday with Tyler Fish and me and Alan, and that went pretty good, so I don't know, I mean, I know we got some other stuff coming up with behavioral health and some of the waivers, and I sent a letter off last week to Barb and Bertina Smith for the Department of Interior. I know the hearings they had yesterday with the Senate, so hopefully, I talked to, they said that it went pretty good over there too, so we'll see what happens with that.
The urban council, community council, that meeting, that Zoom meeting, they had said that they could meet Monday the 6th at 1. Will that work for you guys?
Because we'll talk about that in executive too. So.
Okay.
Can't bring up names and that, so.
The TEC is on the 13th there, but they have the, also the election calendar stuff. And, I was hoping to have legal and, finance take a look at, and communications take a look at, putting together a standard resolution, budget resolution for, whenever these elections happen. So for example, like a standard, whenever someone even gets sworn into office, you guys usually have like an event or something, that there would be like a standard budget, that they can operate off of, so like it's consistently done. So I was hoping you guys could take a look at that, because I know there's, Mike, he would reassume his office, on the 14th, all right? And then, depending on how the District 3 seat goes, that's, not till, I think,
18th of August.
yeah, not till the August or September there.
Probably September, because they have those
Yeah, those
periods that you gotta wait for cases or whatever type of.
So I don't know if you guys are thinking of, doing something.
Probably late September.
Yeah.
Mid-September, I don't know.
So give us some time to kind of put together like a standard resolution that would help you guys, just kind of pay for that process. So you reassume your office on the 14th, Mr. Chair. So, we'd have to get you sworn back in.
All right, that's on the 14th?
Yep.
All right, anything else to add to the calendars? Next up is Brian Goodwin, contract with Whip.
Are you on the phone, Brian? I don't have a phone number for him.
Well, we can move him back till he gets on, so. I
I
wonder
only
if
got
Scott
his
read the joint?
work email. Assume he's checking it.
Not Brian's number? I'll text it to you. Yeah?
Yep. Scott, are you on?
Is Martha on?
Martha? Isn't there anybody on?
He must be way ahead of schedule.
You might wanna find somebody that'll do your post. and all
Yeah.
that.
Martha's calling.
Yeah, we had a couple overdoses too, this week, yeah.
Really?
And one,
Hello,
one in Owl Lake and one in.
Is that you, Martha?
it is. Hi, everybody.
Good morning, Martha. This is Mike.
Morning.
You're on. I know
Morning.
I know we're a little early, so, but I think that, we're just trying to put on the schedule here, and I appreciate you calling in, so I guess, you're next up on the.
No, that's fine.
So,
Okay, where do you want me to start at?
Which packet is hers? Oh, here we go.
Okay,
Right?
do you want to talk
No.
about the mansions, because that's fairly simple?
Yeah.
When we did the drop-in center, or whatever, we worked with, Jim Dahl, the fire police person, the fire chief police person, and he had given us an extension and said that we could work on things, while we were in there to get everything up to code, because if everybody recalls that place is out of fire code, it's out of all kinds of things. However, the bids are now expired, so what we went ahead and did is we're getting 3 bids, and we also contacted White Builders to help us with that. I was able to get, Mr. Dahl's extension. He gave me another extension, and then, in the next 3 weeks, I have to give him a date of when we're gonna be finished doing what we're gonna do. So the biggest question is, one, what are the plans that we're gonna do with the mansions? And then, so we can move forward like that.
So you're looking at, $14 million. Right?
$14 million?
What's total project cost?
I don't know where the,
14.2 million?
Who's that?
oh my
This is
God.
from White Builders. total division zero.
No, they've got
No,
wrong
that's not.
documents on here. That's Wash Health Center
That's
projected
the new
job
clinic.
costs. Yeah, I'm like,
God,
God, those mansions aren't even worth.
I say it's under with Jim Dahl here, so I thought.
Oh my
Yeah, they must have
Scared me. I was
connected
like,
it
I don't know where that number is
to.
coming from.
That's not right.
I was like, where's that number coming from? I don't even know.
That's what I was wondering, is the attached to this Jim Dahl one, so.
What is she using?
So you're looking for Martha, what's the plan for the mansions? Say
Yes,
again what you're
you know,
looking for
because-
from tribal council.
What I'm looking from the council is, like, what are your intentions with the mansions? Because we're at this point where, you know, the drop-in center is done, basically. The mansions are not up to code. We're looking at continuing to get fines if we don't do something. So I know there was a couple things on the table, and then the council decided to do the drop-in center, and then I think they were supposed to revisit. So I'm just kind of wondering, where do we go from here? Like, what do you want?
As I recall, Martha, we were working on a capital improvement plan, and then the pandemic struck, and then everything got thrown, kind of thrown out of place. But, it would be my opinion that, if we're incurring these, we need to take care of those buildings so they're up to code at least, the minimum code. But then I also remember going down there visiting recently, when we dropped off care packages, that some of those buildings need some more maintenance, O&M maintenance work. So I would like to see them brought up to code and at least, cleaned, professionally cleaned, because there was a homeless person or persons that broke into one of those facilities. And then now they've, put up the boards and all that. I remember you guys doing that. So we gotta
Did not board up the mansions.
they didn't? Then what did we
No,
approve?
Martha, you want to explain why?
Okay.
So during the riot, if it would have been boarded up during the riot, that was different. But however, due to the city codes and everything, you cannot board up buildings without getting permission from the city.
Okay. So basically, we just gotta bring the buildings up to code and get them cleaned up and up to par, because right now they need a lot of maintenance. That would be my guidance until you guys decide want to do with your capital improvements.
Yep, and I'm just asking them to go ahead and get them up to code and do what we need to.
Yeah, Martha, to procure it out, to get some contractors, or if we're gonna do it or if someone else will do it, just follow policy. So if we're gonna contract somebody, just get some contractors to come in, or otherwise, if not, if we're gonna send down our staff or a day labor crew down there, then we could, we'll pay for it out of our own pocket then, but if not.
And the quote from last year, from April 5th, 2019, to get everything, the renovation was $253,000.
Which you can use your third-party
Yeah.
revenue funds.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right.
Yeah, I'll get that taken care of, get them up to code, maybe we can sell them to somebody.
Yeah. We just need I guess,
Sounds
like the chairman said, we just need follow the procurement policy and all that, and we just need a budget and resolution, and we'll get it taken care of.
Do you want me to update the one from last year?
Could as well.
Well, if it's,
Well, there you
if
go.
they're reflective, yeah.
Yeah. There you go. You've already got it.
Okay. And then now you want to talk about the access to recovery?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there questions outside of the packet that I forwarded, or? To really simplify it, the main point of this access to recovery is basically to stop people from, having to go to different places, like everything, the plan, the hope is everything that's gonna be, they come to help, need help or whatever, they'll just be right there and they won't have to call X person or Y person or Z person, like everything they're gonna need is right there.
Which one is that one, Martha?
That, that's the Angie box, talking about that, access to recovery point.
Okay.
This is the, I think, the overview.
Martha, do we have, does all our staff have, current technology? I mean, do we have Service Pros for all of our workers that need them for billing and for?
All that stuff is pending. We put it in, the request, the wish list and stuff like that, so.
But I mean, if it's something that we need, I think you should just order them. I mean, I wouldn't put it in the wish list. I would just order those for your providers, for your billers, for your, you know, I think those are things that we have, you know, pots of money you could draw out of, so.
ICW did that too, instead
Yeah.
of putting out a care, they just ordered their stuff.
Yeah, just order your stuff, Martha.
Okay.
This is Mike. I'm here.
Who's that?
Mike.
Mike Triplet.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Is there any questions on the access to recovery?
Well, what is, it's a program? Is that what this is?
Martha, you wanna give, is it a program? You wanna give a quick overview?
No, it's not a program, it's just realigning the wider substance abuse.
Oh, is this part of, you have focus on establishment of access points in Pine Point, Rice, Nadawash, Monoma, and White Earth?
Yep,
Basically getting out in the
Yep,
communities
that's
more.
all the stuff.
It's getting out in the communities
Just because
more.
there's so many, and people are not, able to access this very, very well. So this is just a realignment of my staff to make sure that they're more accessible or to try to make sure that they're accessible. This is just more of a progressive, way to program and extend opportunities to provide prevention, early intervention, treatment, and recovery support for everybody who is, having more issues, I would say. So it's just modifying our program and the functions that we do and the activities for people with chemical dependency and mental health.
Good, I mean, it's her division, she should have authority to do that, so,
Definitely needed.
yeah. I mean, if it's already in her, within her own division, I mean, what, I just have to come to us for it.
She's got
But that's good.
she's got a
But I'm glad.
resolution here.
And I'm not sure if we have to approve it with the,
Yeah.
unless it's something to change the org chart, I
Oh,
think, and then maybe
that's
we do need a resolution of something to do with personnel or the way,
Yeah, she's
With
got a
the-
resolution here.
There's a resolution, the org chart, and the biggest piece is that there's gonna be more billable services in the way that it's realigned.
Does it affect personnel?
No, I don't think it would.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Oh, yeah, that's,
Second.
We got a motion to approve the new access point, recovery access point, what is it called again?
Access to recovery,
Access to recovery program, or what is it?
realignment?
A realignment modifying programs and functions and services. Motion by Almazy,
Yeah.
second by Allen, all in favor?
Aye.
What?
Our motion carries. Was that it for Martha?
thank you.
That's it. Thank you,
Okay,
Martha. Have a good weekend.
Yep, good holiday.
Scott, are you on?
Brian Goodwin's here.
Must be getting his tan. All right, Brian, you're up.
Done that, Council.
Morning.
Hey, guys. Morning. Hey, we're at a point now with Whitley. Mark Curie is the team leader with that firm, that CPA firm. They have extensive background working with the tribes for years. I would say they're in, based on my research, they're in the top 15 firms in the country. And so with what Mike Triplett and I have been doing regarding the energy independence agenda, through our assessment and capacity, actually the whole strategic planning process or strategic framework, we're at a point now in the auditing of our planning and moving forward on at least one joint venture. That joint venture is with the renewable energy construction company that installed Leech Lake's system and ours as well. And so their board agreed to enter into a partnership, a joint venture with Whiter. Whiter being the majority owner. We're 51%, 49%. They agreed to stay on to assist us in operations and training our people to eventually take over operations. The devil's in the details, but one of the major pieces that we need to make an informed decision about the risk index as it relates to cost, as it relates to return on our investment, return on our assets, and to determine whether or not the numbers are viable. Now, to arrive at the viability of the numbers, we need the services from Mark Curie and his group to create financial performance that will clearly define what our financial management strategy is within that business plan. In addition to that, we're also seeking 8A certification so that we have the advantage over other companies throughout not only Minnesota, but we're also targeting Wisconsin and Michigan as well. For that's our target groups. And so we certainly need the pro formas to be eligible or to be qualified for the 8A certification. The construction company has the capacity, they have the history in this particular industry to move forward for that 8A designation. Now, on top of that, we're also having discussions with another company to do some manufacturing in Whiter, and that has to do with solar. That particular company is Helion Incorporated, based out of Sault Ste. Marie. They have expanded their operations into Iron Mountain, and they plan on expanding their operations. I think it's in Washington State. But there's an opportunity for us here to create anywhere from 120 to 130 jobs, producing about 500,000 solar panels right there in Whiter. And so, again, you know, that's the proof is in the numbers. The viability is in the numbers. And we would need Mark Curie Whitley to assist us in that pro forma, provide us the pro formas that we need to make that informed decision on whether to move forward with that or not. So that's the request. I asked Triplett Mike to get online here in case I'm missing anything. If there's any gaps in what I'm saying, Mike, you got anything to add?
Not so much. Yeah, that's essentially what we're looking at. The other one is natural gas. We've had good relationship with the, party that put natural gas into, Monoman. And they're willing to work with us, to get, throughout the, reservation, just carrying on from where they left off. So we'll need some expertise on that one too.
We'll have to add, the National Defense Industrial Association, and joining that association being the sixth state, that too in itself can create some 8A type work in manufacturing. And so we're having discussions with them as well. And then on top of that, there's another company based out of Grand Forks called Grand Sky. They too are interested in partnering up with White Earth. This COVID thing is a terrible thing, but it also has created some opportunities for us to reset our economy. And so nothing herein, nothing shall be construed as a waiver of White Earth Nation's sovereign immunity. That's the buy-in. If they can't agree to that, then it's a non-starter. Thus far, these particular companies have agreed to that, and I have to say there's a couple others that are on deck, and that has to do with a group out of Taiwan. We'll be having that discussion sometime soon with that particular group, and their product is solar roofing. And they want access to the U.S. market, and they believe the best way to do that is to enter an agreement with the First Nation in the United States. So we have a lot of opportunities, and I think it's appropriate that we pull in these services to increase our capacity sufficient enough to carry out the next step. And I'm positive. I'm a yes. What if mode, and I believe that the evidence will show itself for council to make an informed decision about making any sort of risk assessment, taking the next step forward.
Will that include some of our local producers too?
Yes. Yes. Everyone's counted and connected. It's not a no because proposition, and what we need to provide to council's decision maker, is we need to provide them a financial objective analysis. We need to provide you a legal objective analysis, and we need to provide you a planning objective analysis. That's what we need to do, and that's our best technical advisement that we have. Mike, anything else?
You covered it well.
Well, the questions I have, I guess, is the contract is, has Veronica looked at the contract? Is something that?
It's in the back here, packet.
Okay.
Second from the back.
Okay. The link to the contract, and also, we talk about enterprises and our enterprises board, and I know we talked about this many years ago about enterprises taking over the 8A stuff when it comes to our White Earth enterprises, and I think that's something that this fits perfectly in here. I know we've always talked about the 8A stuff that, in the past when our old economic development director was here at the time, was trying to bring on technologies. We brought it up here about 2 weeks ago with computer services or reconditioned computers, where we talked about using Microsoft as one of our, we talked a lot about our economic development through our enterprises, and I think this is where, and I know we talked about our enterprises board, and I know there's one or two people left on there, but I think I know Liz was getting some names or something for us, for our board for us to move forward with this stuff. And I mean, these are great ideas, Brian. I'm not saying that they're bad or nothing, but I'm just saying that, like you hit the nail on the head when you said that COVID, did bring in some different type of opportunities, which I believe is true. And there's like so much out there, because even myself, I've been researching solar, and I know there's a lot of good companies out there, and like I said, we have the manpower, the means, we have the facility, even if we had to bring a company in to build them or to manufacture parts of them or whatnot. And, you know, I think these are some great ideas, and like I said, you know, it's now is like, do we slide it underneath our enterprises for them to create all this stuff so we can create our economic development. So, and I know that's something that I think that I don't know, council should look at it. I don't know, council, you guys can.
So this is just like the financial planning for all that? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Brian, is that what you're saying? This is for the financial planning of that future enterprise activity?
Yes, but just as important, it takes at least 4 to 6 months to get 8A certification status.
Okay.
And there's requirements that we have to meet, that have to be met in order to be eligible or to qualify.
And these guys are gonna help
And
with
so, can we wait for the enterprise board to get up and running and up to speed and
Brian,
understand
Brian.
what their role and responsibilities
Brian.
are? I don't know, but
Brian,
this is for our financial management plan.
Brian, question.
Yeah.
These guys will help us with that process, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they have years and years of experience in manufacturing as well as IT. You name it, they've got it. It's a one-stop shop for our financial needs, our financial management needs.
Yeah, I think it's in the back.
All right.
They're not just a CPA firm, they're also lawyers. And they're lawyers that cover corporate law, business law. So it's a diverse group with multiple disciplines that are part of their overall services. So we can move more efficiently and more effectively with this kind of capacity. Because we'd like to have our construction crew ready and doing work by next year.
Brian, is this contract, are
Starting with
we
weeks late.
locked in at all?
No, it says right there on the bottom. Right here, it says, term of contract until services are complete. Cancellation clause, it has in there also, so.
Yeah. Yeah, she always puts that in there in case we just
On that
want
front
to
page.
terminate it. It's on the front page.
Right here, Mike, on the front page of this. Yes. All these things checked on, under legal there.
Well, something to do with economic development, I guess.
I think it also lines up with this, letter to the president and the White House. I think that conversation, I guess, been like the hemp and the renewables and all that. That's what this is gonna help with, Brian?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
All right, I'm fine with that motion.
Well, I mean, you want to make the motion now or later? Motion by Alan to accept the contract with Whiffley Business Planning Services.
Oh,
Second?
Okay.
Second by Ray, all in favor?
All right,
Hi.
Well,
That motion carries. McGuitch?
you would.
oh, me butch, we're cooking with gas. What? You great.
All right, now next up.
good morning, Scott Amwood on the call.
Oh, Scott's on, okay, good, Scott. All right, you're up, Scott.
Okay, that's probably on the line as well, I'm not sure.
but we have
I'm
been
here.
instructed to consider and moving forward on the joint venture clinic. And I've included some things in the packet. And one of the things in the packet was a estimated project job cost on 10/8/2019. And that cost at that time was estimated at $14,300,000 almost. So they came back to us at the same time in August of 19 and said, you know, we need to do some redesign work because of the elimination of the link. We might have to do some redesign if you want to eliminate the whole trees. They had to do some redesign for civil and new survey, document review, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and detailed third-party cost estimate, project management services, and reimbursable cost. Right now, in October of 19, it was estimated at 14.3 million. If I can give you a ballpark number, the ballpark number is if you were to build this, start now or maybe start next spring, it's going to be 15 to 19 million. And you know, I visited with Todd Schofield and Keith Hartman. 15 to 19 million is where the ballpark is. They can give us that number without spending any money. I know that UMSI asked at the last meeting we had, well, wouldn't we cut out some things because some of the sewer main has been put in and things of that nature? Absolutely correct. If we want to engage DSGW, I have visited with them. And if you look at their letter from August 19th, they said we'd have to do phase number 1, elimination of the link, have to do the number 3, the civil new survey, number 4, the document review, number 5, the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and this number 6, the detailed party cost estimate to get a better number of things that might be taken out, maybe things we might have to add, and come up with an estimate of the cost. On this paper, that's going to be $75,000 to $100,000. So Liz actually asked me to put in a resolution in case you were interested in it today. I put in a resolution to engage DSGW if that was the wishes of the council at a price not to exceed $100,000. I visited with Mike Laverdew, the last couple days, and he reaffirmed that those were the pieces that would need to be redone to get this done properly. He told me that if he was engaged right now, it would be 60 to 75 days before he'd have the results of all of these redesign services, be able to get back to us with the services and answers that we had requested of them. So it'd be, $75,000 to $100,000 to do it. It'd be a better cost estimate and things that were required, and it would take 60 to 75 days to get this information from them.
Well, Scott, you just said that some of the stuff you're taking out of there, of the project, how much does those cost?
Well,
how much savings?
They'll do that in the redesign, the elimination of the link. That'll tell, things will change because we originally had that building without the link and the design was very good. And then you decided to put the link in and that changed some of the layout. So this will make it back the way it was and probably more efficient in the right room because there was a natural healing room right in there that kind of got disrupted because of the link. Some of the sewer and water main cost may be decreased because Mats and Moms is already in there. Yeah. So it's going to give, it's going to remove the things that are not needed or not wanted and the things that are already in place.
So what do you?
I was just gonna say, like, I'm in favor of healthcare, all that stuff. What I would like to see, Scott, is maybe because he's already gonna be doing a projection, right?
Updated
cost estimate.
Yeah, cost estimate. That can't we just see what a cost estimate would be for something to fix up Pine Point and Rice Lake over there? Just throw them all in the same thing. You know what I mean? That way you can have cost estimates for all of them.
So include this and.
I'm inclined to approve, I would like to get this approved today, but I wanna put the Rice Lake and Pine Point in there. Just to do that reanalysis.
All right, motion then, I guess.
I mean,
So, this is Pat, can you hear me?
We can.
Yes,
Okay, so Alan, the Rice Lake project is pretty much, figured out to put a clinical service in there. The space has been looked at. The holdup on that is, I thought it was about 50 grand to do the renovation to get water and facilities into that, office, that they would be using as a clinical office. IHS would provide a provider and, our side would provide the nursing service for that to happen for Rice Lake to have clinic at least once a week.
Yeah, but Pat, didn't you
The
really,
Pine Point building,
Pat, remember
the Pine,
we talked about renting?
go ahead, Mike.
IHS getting into those lease agreements with us and renting our rooms at a premium price? Would that be one of the good things that we could utilize if we fix up both those,
Under that 105?
yeah, 105 lease? Could we use
Yeah.
those? Could we use those in those facilities?
We will be able to get 105 lease dollars for the, Moms and Maps building in Natiwash, and we'll also be able to get that probably for the health building currently in Whiter, 105 lease dollars. IHS owns the clinic in Pine Point. And so they control that building. It's not tribally owned.
well, how do we get that?
And they
fixed
did
up
some
over there?
renovation out there. That's what they told us, Scott, correct? They had renovated that building recently.
yes.
But Pat, if we put that clinic in Rice Lake, which we're planning to do, is then will we be able to capture any type of leases off that, or is that our?
We'd have to check on that. We would only be able to, if possible at all, we would only be able to do the space that was being occupied by that clinical service, and that's something we could ask Todd about. If we can do part of the building, or if it has to be the entire building.
Okay, but can we add that to what Alan talked about, as well as the cost analysis for the,
Yeah, I'd like
for the
cost
upgrade and the-
analysis on that, yeah.
to add that in there so we could have those guys maybe look at that? I mean, if it's possible, if that company can go in there and look at it, see what it costs to redo Rice Lake Community Center, part of it, half of it, or the back part of it, to put in a small clinic.
Well, I think the guys from IHS has already come up with that, and they've said it's less than $100,000 to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, they were up and did a study on it here about a year ago, and they were all for it. They said it wouldn't take much to renovate those into the space that we needed. I thought, well, that's pretty good then, we should be able to move forward with that, but again, it got put on hold again, and well, there's a lot of people.
I think IHS is willing to do that, Ray, and we're willing to do that. The holdup was the cost of the renovation to put the facilities into that office area. So that would be what we'd be looking at to move ahead, is getting the water and the sink and that stuff in that arena that the provider would be using.
Yeah, but is that?
And IHS is still aboard on that.
Is that a study like this, is there an actual study on that? The architects and the services that you guys are actually putting in there? Cause I don't remember hearing that. I remember we asked you guys to go up there and take a look, and then you took a look, but, we haven't got a back brief of what's actually going in here. Whereas like this one here, on this bid here for, Natawash, you have all the supplies here, and then we know which services are gonna go into that building and all that, but do we have all that ironed out for Rice Lake?
I think that Todd and Pete have that because they had the engineers look at it, so we could request their information from them.
And the reason being is
As far as how-
because if we get a briefing, I'd like to have a briefing on that, and if, let's say, you know, the D1, you know, wants to see if he can add more stuff to that facility, that'll change, or take away stuff, that'll change that quote. So, what I'm saying is, I'd like to add, if that information isn't already available, I'd like to add it to this packet, and when that's added, Mr. Chair, I'd be happy to support this.
So.
Basically what I'm asking is that I'd like a briefing from IHS on what they're gonna do with Rice Lake. And if the D1 determines and the community determines that's what they want, then we just, unless they want modifications, and they'd be rolled into this packet. If there's no modifications, then it would be approved as is. So maybe a week, can we just take a week? Take a look at it?
I guess we'll have to wait, I guess, I mean,
can you get that?
I mean, the other one is, with that is just to update the Native Wash Clinic, the other one, if IHS already said that you just need a sink and run water and water lines and.
Well, they're still gonna have to get a different estimate.
Yeah.
Like Scott said, it's gonna be from 15.
So Scott, would that estimate come from this company that's gonna do the analysis of the water clinic, or do we just go with another vendor to do that estimate at Rice Lake?
Well, we were using the estimate from IHS for the Rice Lake one.
Could we use the same company to do the Rice Lake Center?
We could, but on a $50,000 to $100,000 project, it seems kind of overkill and over expensive to hire the architects to do that.
So what are you saying, Scott?
60 to 75 days to get there.
Scott, I have a problem with what you just said there, because the way I feel that is, if you're saying that our Rice Lake ain't worth the money. That's what I just interpreted.
No, I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Well, it sure sounds like it.
Well, you guys are the council, and if you want to do that.
If you remember right, what was it, about 2 years ago here or so, they renovated that old clinic there in Natal, and how much money did they spend on that to renovate that building? Now they want to turn around and they want to build a $14.2 million clinic, when they spent, I don't know how much they spent on that, renovating that old building there in Nadawash. If they had this in place 10 years, why would they spend all that money to renovate that clinic in Nadawash, when that money could have probably been used for District 1 and District 3 and Pine Point and Rice Lake? So in other words, it sounds like, to me, it's well, you know, it's better off just building a bigger clinic, forgetting about District or Pine Point and Rice Lake. Well,
all I'm saying is, can we just see what they produced, and if it doesn't look good, then we'll just add it to this. We could probably get a better deal if you just add it as a package deal anyways. I mean, I just want to look at it.
Well, we can visit with the SW about that. We can get the information, whatever IHS can share with us, you know, and maybe it's extensive, maybe it's not extensive. So provide that information to DSGW and get that information as well.
Is that the one that's?
well, I'm sure they must have that information. I'm sure they must have that information already, because Dan Fry and there was 3 other ones. There was the architect and I don't know who the other 2 guys were up here, and they looked it all over it. They said, "Oh yeah, this could be possible. You know, just a little renovating and we could make this happen." You know what they told me?
IHS in Bemidji has all of that information. You're correct, Ray.
Well, see, and it shouldn't be a problem for them to come forward with it then, and we'll just take a look at it. I don't think we got a briefing. I don't think we got a briefing.
No, they'd be more than happy to share it with us, because, you know, they want to make sure what we're suggesting to build is what they want done as well. You know, collaborative effort because their people are going to be using that space, and we want to do it right the first time. So they're more than happy, I'm sure, to share that information with us.
I'm sure they are too, and I know that they have that info. And
Well, they have been trying for a clinic in Rice Lake for years that I know of. I mean, since way back in the 90s. And each time it was put out because they said, well, we got 2 in District 3, 1 in Point Point, 1 in Whiter, and we got the facility in Nadawash. They can use that. Well, times have changed now, and our population has grown, and you know, I feel even just a 1-day outpatient clinic out here would be a great thing, you know. But
Yeah, we all agree that, Ray. We all agree with
And
that.
IHS is very supportive of doing that.
yes, they would not have dental and X-ray there, though, Ray.
well, I understand that, but a lot of people are, you know, just, you know, rather than running all the way to Nadawash or Rice or Whiter to fix their meds, it'd be nice if they could do it right up here, they said, you know. A lot of them wait a few days before they get their meds, you know, because our CHRs get so busy sometimes, you know, they can't always pick them up, and some don't have rides down there, but I'm sure they could find a quicker ride to Rice Lake than they could to Nadawash or Whiter or.
Exactly.
Oh, I just want to.
We can reach out to area and get that information. And then do you still want the architects to look at that as well, Alan?
That's what I'm requesting, is just take a look at it. Give us a week, you know, give us a briefing next week, and then maybe bring the resolution back. Maybe 2 versions, one with Rice Lake and, you know, one as is, you know, and the council can make a decision on what it wants to do. That's all I'm asking for. Just 1 week, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we can do.
Yeah, we'll bring it back next week.
We can do that.
All right, be good.
And I just feel that if this Nadawash clinic is built, well, then eventually they're gonna say, well, we got this new facility in Nadawash, we don't need none in Rice Lake. And once again, Rice Lake or District 1 gets put out, you know, and we are a big district also, but they say we are the smallest district, but that shouldn't hurt us when it comes to healthcare.
All right.
Well, the thing is, you want it done because, I mean, it's a smaller cost, and it's something that could be done much quicker. I mean, obviously, Nadawash is going to take some time to build, and you sure as heck don't want to wait to convert the Rice Lake. Once you decide that you're going to do it, move forward so that it's done as quickly as possible.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
We'll bring it up next week again. Thank you again. All right, next up is Tribal Internet Connectivity Initiative.
Good morning. We might have the opportunity to increase our internet connectivity to the Whiter Glacier by working with some current vendors, RBC, Paul Bunyan, Garden Valley, and Verizon, to improve our telemedicine, district learning, and remote work. We are hoping to be able to use the CARES Act, some of the CARES Act dollars, because this has been requested by several departments to get this done so we've got better connectivity. I think we all realize that we have some areas within the White Earth nation that has zero connectivity. We have some that I would say would have poor connectivity. We have some that has really nice connectivity. So the whole idea is to hopefully be able to use some CARES dollars to build this up in the areas that need to be built. What I'm asking for today is to move this from an initiative to kind of a project, which allows us to kind of create a plan, kind of see where we are and kind of move forward. I want to make this very clear though, because we believe there are some pretty significant construction costs. This will not happen within the next 6 months, 12 months. It's probably more like 18 to 24 months before we really see the value that people are getting. It's not going to help schools next week, you know, at the beginning of the year. It's not going to help telemedicine in the next 2 months. And so I want to make that very clear so people aren't expecting something that I don't believe we can deliver no matter how we do this. It's with construction costs. And the companies, in the brief conversations I've had with these vendors, is they are already very busy with construction costs, so we are good with construction, so they wouldn't be able to start for 12 months. So the other thing, so what we really want to do is get kind of approval or permission. I don't even think we need you guys to just nod your heads and say, yeah, let's at least investigate this, move it to a project. So then we would do, determine the next steps. The next steps would be, how can we use these $4?
Alan, you're not
if we
coming
can?
in very good.
Judy,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll speak up louder. Can you hear me now?
Thank you.
Or do you want me to move down there?
you can move across
Okay.
there, across from me there. It's just you just want
Sorry.
permission from the council to,
It just needs a consensus to
Yeah,
move
to
forward.
move forward and to, but first, then we'll come back and we'll let you know how how the care dollars, if they can be spent. We'll determine the areas of the concentration inside white earth. And again, I think we kind of already have a feel for what that is, but we'd like to validate what we already kind of believe is what I would call an assumption. And then we create kind of a high-level project plan, and that would be kind of very loose, I mean, because we wouldn't have anybody set to do anything. But probably the most important thing, I think, is how do we communicate to you guys? We create a communication plan that you would approve, and you say, yes, this is how we want to see how this is moving forward, because I would consider the tribal council as our stakeholders. You are the guys that are going to say, go forward, no, on no go, no decisions, you're going to say go or don't. And so that's what we want to make sure we're doing, is meeting your needs with communication, because if we don't, I know it will fail.
and I think that you bring up a good subject about communications, and also our vendors that we utilize across the res is the thing that I look at, and I've always said this, is our PUC, our Public Utility Commission. That's in the future, this is who should be going to.
Absolutely.
If we're gonna go through Verizon or Paul Bunyan, Arvig, or Otter Tail Power or Wild Rice, that should be going through our Public Utility Commission board.
We had a discussion about public utilities, and I would call it a brief discussion in a fairly small meeting. And we decided, because this is so critical to moving forward with like education, telemedicine, and even remote work, that we didn't think we had the time to wait for a public utilities commission. Just so you know, we did think about it, try to figure out, can we get that? And we decided that, you know what, if that's critical, we can add it in, we can try to get that created first, but we really want to move forward because we think the dollars are available now, and it sounds like every other department really needs this kind of connectivity. And I look at so many things that might be able to happen that I'm very excited about it. I think about, I was on a call with the Minnesota IT group, and they were talking about how they're going to work from home going forward. Wouldn't it be great to be able to keep people on the reservation that are maybe working in Minneapolis for the Minnesota IT group, because we could create those skill sets here. We could move forward, and it's not remote work for necessarily the tribal entity. It's remote work for people that don't have to live in Minneapolis anymore, that can remain home, and we can create this great organization or this great area where people have the right connectivity. They have, they get to live where they want to live. They don't have to live where it's typical to live.
And that's the thing too, even we're talking to Commissioner Kelly on the Department of Commerce, and we talked about the fluctuations of cost of just power, compared to Wild Rice Power to Otter Tail Power. And there's a big fluctuation. I asked that in there, why am I as a Wild Rice customer paying more than an Otter Tail Power customer?
Than me as a Detroit Lakes customer.
And the same thing as goes for Arvig compared to Paul Bunyan Internet and Bemidji. It's night and day. Yep. So these are the things as us, how we regulate within our borders. And we can pick and choose who we want here. Yep. We can be our own power. We can create our own power company. We can create our own internet company. We can create anything we want.
Absolutely.
So I think this is something I think that as council, I think that, the future is our, what we're going to regulate within our boundaries. So.
Okay.
Yeah, be good.
So go ahead and get started.
Oh, what do you guys think? Questions? I'm not sure if council wants it's just a consensus to her to move forward. Bring back something.
Or take a look at stuff.
Yeah, just how to turn a character.
Really to take a look at stuff. I can send this in an email, or I can ask Amy Jo to get copies made if you need it. But it's really it's not complicated yet. It might get complicated, but not yet. So I'll give this to Amy Jo, and if anybody wants a copy.
I know you talked about the Public Utilities Commission. I'm wondering if, so your group has been looking at it and talking about it. Is that something that you can work? I mean, obviously you said we're not gonna be able to get that commission in place. But
It could be.
it could be. That's what I'm wondering if you can also work that as a part of that plan.
I don't know very much about public utilities, but I certainly know I could learn. So why don't I make the commitment of looking into it? And when we're coming back on the kind of the next steps, and specifically getting some approvals on the high-level project plan and the communication plan, see if we can work in the Public Utilities Commission within that plan.
Yeah, I think-
Happy to do that.
Liz, I think didn't we have Shonda working on this too, or the land attorney? What's her name, Shonda? or something?
Shanna, yeah, the illegal?
Yeah, we should have her start working on this, because I know at one time we had Joey Plummer Jr. working on the PUC.
Okay.
So,
Well, I think our economic development should be involved in it also.
yeah, I mean, there's.
Yeah, because I know they're involved in this project.
Nomabad is
Yeah.
absolutely involved.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
there's all kinds of stuff involved in the PUC.
Yeah, so I don't think this will be a surprise to him. In fact, I'll go back and kind of report to the group that we met with earlier this week, so.
I know
Anything else?
Public Utilities Commission would be great to have. I know that.
Thank you, Julie.
Yeah, no problem.
That'd be Rich. You guys want to take a break?
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a little break. Back in 10 minutes.
Call me back, Maria.
So I'll have